Shut up and sit down.
Hey everybody, today we're going to be knocking some more ugly off of the Caprice here, and we're going to be deleting the ABS on it. Now, this one is, it's more of a showy type thing, but two, ABS is one of them things if you know how to drive you don't need, and another thing is, you know, if you do know how to drive, one, it could help, but two, you don't need it. So, as you can see, it's a mess. Good thing it's labeled too, so you ain't gotta really do. You got left front, right rear, and I'm gonna say probably one of these on this side or that side is the right. I don't know what you call it. The other rear. Yeah. So I use some of this awesome CRC power lube there. It works great to spray it down, knock them nuts loose, which they still, some stuck. Of course, I mean 21, no, it's actually 25 years old. So this one I got to break loose with the wrench, this one too, but this one I had to use vice grips on. So I've already pulled the wiring, it's just a plug. Now I'm gonna knock these loose, and then I'll pull the actual unit off after pulling off the rest of the brake lines. As you can see, there's like a mess. Back there is not a big problem, it just comes straight off here, 2 lines down, and then it comes into this. After it splits off into everything else. So actually we might have a front and a rear on here. Might all there is, but we'll figure it out after we get the ABS unit off. I'm not gonna trash it, I'm trying to take it off good and easy because somebody could still use it. So let's get started with that. It's a 1/2 inch is the tight side, so hopefully, well, this side don't feel like it is. Yeah, there it goes. Now, what I do is I usually tap it to the tight way, then I'll pull it toward the loose way. Alright, so that's all the lines broke free now. I just gotta pull all them off. Right, now with all the lines loose, and yes, I am wearing gloves now because there's 2 smells on a car that just make you want to gag a maggot. And one, brake fluid. The other, rear end grease. Yeah, rear end grease. People who work on rear ends know what I'm talking about. Because it's the foulest odor you'll ever smell. Especially when it's really, really old. Oh, it's bad. So now I'm gonna pull the unit off. I got a ground wire on this one side. Right here's the ground wire. And then I have this bolt, and there's 2 bolts on the back side, and they look like they're probably a 14. Let me see here. See if I get it in one shot. Oh, what is it? I don't know, that feels like it's stripped. Let's try a 13. Pretty sure it's this 14, but it's acting funny. 12. Let's see here. 13. Nope, 13. Huh, it's close. Alright, let me get a long extension and a ratchet. And yeah, that's on there. It's actually the top bolt for the gearbox. Alright, I'm gonna get these other two off and pull off this ground wire, and we'll take it off. Alright, now with the ground off and then 3 bolts out, this thing's pretty much off. Yeah, it's off. Right there. Oh, jeez. That being aluminum, I didn't think it was that heavy. Yeah, we got a front and rear, so we got a front and rear. So tie them 2 together and tie these 3 together. It should be as easy. But that'll be for sale sometime. Some of them B-body guys I know might want it. Now that that's off, opened up a ton of room. That's like, oh, it's probably like a foot almost. Put this nut back on. I don't trust that one. Well, I was gonna put it back on. It's pretty rusty though. So there it goes. All right. So now what we gotta do is we gotta get a T-block for the front brakes and tee it back there, back toward the brake booster and stuff. And then I guess we just need to connect it to the rear. So that'll just be a coupler, a quick coupler. Unless they have a block, I'll try to make it look nicer. And that should be it for, you know, deleting the ABS. I'm gonna spray all this down with some degreaser. Get some metering blocks and I'll get. Well, I'm back from the parts store. What I did was I cut the ends off so that way I know which size lines I need, which this small one's 3/16, this big one's 1/4 inch. So these are the fronts, that's the rears. I don't need them now, so you can't reuse these, by the way. The just the ends. Let me see here. Take one off. These right here, these are called tube nuts, but these actually don't fit anything now, so those are basically garbage. What I got to replace it was a 3/16 T with 3 3/16 tube nuts. Now you have to buy the T and the tube nuts separately, and the other piece, this is a union with 2 1/4 inch tube nuts. Now I got these at my local auto parts. This is now the price for that's going to be different for every other Napa, because this is a personally owned Napa called Epps Auto Parts here in Barberville. But I only paid $8 for all that stuff. I went to O'Reilly's. It was $20.89, and I said no because I'm cheap. But it's all the same thing. That's all you need right there to remove your ABS on your Caprice or Impala, whatever you're doing it on. Probably other stuff too, I'd say. But now we have to cut the rest of them lines off. I marked mine back a little bit because I don't want to cut them all at once. And the reason for that is if I make a mistake, I don't want a bunch of unions, or not unions, but let me think of what them things are called. They're not unions. Anyway, I don't want a bunch of them quick couplers. There we go, quick couplers on there holding everything together. So I'm going to move the camera in a little closer for you guys, and I'm going to continue cutting the lines and figuring out where I want to put everything. Another thing you're going to have to do is remove all of these, I just call them line holders. Like this one back here. This is about the 3rd or 4th one I've pulled off so far. It just holds your lines, and that's all it does. But there's you got to get that off there in order to work on the lines, because they're really tight against the frame. They have a rubber boot in them. I figured it'd cause a lot of rust problems, but actually underneath them's better than the regular. Well, watch out for the brake fluid. Be prepared to have a lot of rags. Alright. It's still tight on there, that's for sure. Basically, you just unbolt it, pull the bracket back, and then you pull the rubber apart, and then you just pop all the lines out of it. And you just pull your bracket off. This one's tight, really tight. There we go. You can see how much them loosened up. There's actually a vacuum line on that one, so I'll probably cut it off and bolt it back down. But for now, I'll leave it off. Alright. So now all your lines are a lot looser than they were. Oh yeah, that one's really loose. Dang, there's a lot in there. That would be to the rear brakes. This one's goes to the rear. To the rear, or no, to the brake booster, to the rear. And what we got here? We got the top. Then up here's the left and right on the front. I have to do some maneuvering here because I'm going to have to get in the engine bay to really get to it easy. For those of you that have the motor in your car still, not going to be fun. Okay, now that I'm stuffed in here and you're stuffed in here with me. Here's the rear line, and here's the rear line. So what I figured I'd do to be the best way is just bend this one up at an angle toward it, and bend this one down at an angle toward it, and then bolt them together. So I'm going to cut this one first to about right here, right before the bend, maybe a little bit further back, right there. And that's where we'll start, is from that one. And this one we'll cut after. That one's still completely full. This one's still let's see which one. This one's still almost full, and this one's completely full. So that's the end all the way on it to the ABS garbage. So now I like to use a cutoff wheel, air cutoff wheel, to cut it. Now it does shoot out some brake fluid, so you're gonna want to watch it. You're gonna want to go slow, and you want to try to cut it as straight as possible, or as least as straight as you think you can get it. Right now it's gonna be a tough spot to get a straight cut on. I might have to unbolt it, hopefully get it to come unbolted up here at the top where you can't see. Let's see, go like that. It's gonna be a tough one. Let me see, can you pull that out any? Pull it out a little bit, but not enough to where I can get a straight cut. Huh? See, I don't like using the pipe cutters on them because